So you're in a unique position here. Obviously, we've got 2 and 2, internal, external. What has it been like trying to sort of get a crash course on Fort Myers? What have you learned, and what stood out about the community?
The crash course you have to, when you apply for a position like this, you have to do research. And even before you put the application in, you have to see what kind of city is it and what kind of department is it. And from what I've seen, the department did a lot of changes under Chief Jiggs, which is great changes. And now the opportunity to say, how can I make those changes even better? In a community that's growing rapidly, that has regional outreach, that has people coming to the community all the time. So that's the research that I've done, as well as the city has a transparency portal, right? So that allows me to get a lot of information just from afar. But I think the opportunity to really get hands-on is where I will really learn, directly from the citizens, directly from the police department, and from the stakeholders. Just getting that feedback is where you really learn.
You've had a long, accomplished career in law enforcement. You didn't have to apply for this job. You don't have to take this job. Why is it a priority for you? Why do you want to be here?
So I've been in this profession for going on 35 years, and I believe in purpose. And I believe as long as I'm breathing, I have a responsibility to take all the knowledge that I have and all the responsibility to make our community, which makes our nation safer. So I sit on a lot of national organizations, and I'm a member on boards that speak to the profession and the best practices of the profession. I'm called upon as panels to say what should we do and to be a think tank for it. So that's why I know I'm going to continue this. Why not be in a city that's thriving? Do that and still have input and influence, because at some point I will maybe change direction and really maybe retire, but that's a minute away. And while I love this profession, I love people, I want to be able to continue doing the work that I do in public safety.
Is there anything, whether the Fort Myers Police Department is doing it correctly or something that you've learned that you'd like to bring to the department? What would be at the top of your to-do list if you do get the job?
Truly the top of my to-do list is really come in and listen as much as possible, do an assessment as much as possible, listen to see and learn, because you can watch and look on social media or look on the website, but until you touch people and listen, that's where you're going to learn the most. And really, if you come in, and each comes in, that first few months is really a fire hose of learning and assessing. So.
You're the only person in this finalist group that has that chief experience. That's got to be some sort of an advantage. I'm curious, what does that chief experience bring that other candidates haven't been exposed to? What did you learn when you become a chief?
You learn so much. You learn so much. And even though I was a deputy chief, but learning when you're in the seat is a great deal of knowledge, and it is kind of an advantage of expectations. So when I walked in the door at Fayetteville, not knowing how to take things, but experience does matter a great deal.
How do you grow when you're, how did you evolve? How did you grow from before you were a chief until after your chief experience? What's the way that it affects you the most?
What's going to make me grow now? The community.
I mean, how did you grow? What was the biggest sort of area of growth that you felt you went through during your time in Fayetteville?
Wow, probably from 2020 to 2023, right before I left. The growth of not just COVID, being attacked by something you can't see, but also going to civil unrest, tapping into parts of the community that we had never tapped into before because they were awakened, was beneficial because now we have more access, and now we have an opportunity to say, well, what we can hear more voices from the community to say, what do you want to change and how do we want to address public safety, law enforcement, and your safety in your community.